you're the engineer part of this equation, is that?
That is correct.
So now he's got the numbers. Kind of, what do you do with them now?
We have pieces of software that we use that basically take all the data and we lay out how we want to look at all the graphs and different information. It's all about getting the driver comfortable with the speed of the car and getting the car to go faster. So we play with all the suspension settings and see what he's sensitive to, and that changes track to track. So we use the data system to record actually what the car's doing, and we use the driver for the feedback to get him comfortable, and hopefully use both of them together to get the most speed out of the car that we can.
And these, we only have 3 settings for the top of the spring and 2 for the bottom. This is pretty limited, but it gives you 12 different combinations, but still it's nothing like what you have.
Pretty much infinitely adjustable, and the only constraints we have is that the engine's sitting in between the 2 sets of suspension. Otherwise, we'd probably put some pieces of suspension where the engine go. A smooth track, you'd probably have higher wheel rates. So you'd have very soft springs and stiff bump rubbers, so you could set the car down and keep it there. So because the car doesn't have to absorb the bumps very well. At a bumpy track, you'd have a lot softer wheel rates. The car would move around a lot more across the bumps. You'd have bigger springs and softer bump rubbers in it, so that you can absorb the bumps and ultimately get more grip out of the tires.
It really boils down to, though, actually keeping the tire in contact with the pavement. Otherwise, it gets very exciting, at least for a short period of time. You can't see it very well inside of these springs, but there's a shock absorber inside this coiled spring.
The longer the straightaway, the harder you have to keep the car down. So you run more shock. It controls the timing, the speed at which the front of the car comes back up. It also controls somewhat the harshness of the bumps, like you were talking about. And pretty much it's basically just a timing piece is all it really does. Different force levels offer different dampenings, but it's pretty much a timing piece.
So the spring controls the force that the wheel pushes down. The shock absorber controls the rate at which the wheel can go up and down. Very interesting interplay there, isn't it?